Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session on how pro bono sharing skills brings a social positive impact on society. My name is Charlotte Bonillo. I'm a business development officer at Pro Bono Lab, and I'm very happy to be moderating this workshop with you all today. Joining us as speakers, we have Anastasiia Holub, Communications Officer at Pro Bono Club in Ukraine, Blagovesta Nikolova, Executive Director at Time Heroes in Bulgaria, and Anaïs Vincent-Luce, Head of Studies at Pro Bono Lab in France. Before we start, just so you know, there will be a time dedicated to your questions at the end of the workshop, so you can keep them in mind in the meantime, or you can write them in the chat box. I won't be looking at it during the session, but don't worry, we will answer your questions at the end of the workshop. Talking about questions, I'd like to ask you one before we start. I will use the pause function. Let me know if you receive it. Have you ever heard about pro bono? Yes, but I don't really know what it is, or no. Okay, so 40. Numbers are still changing. For now, we have a majority of people here that know pro bono. Someone that knows but doesn't really know what it is. I can see that other people joined the room. I just shared a poll to know if you ever heard of pro bono. So feel free to answer it. I hope you can see it on your screen. Okay, so I can see that the majority of you know pro bono, but some people don't, or know but don't really know what it is. So it's perfect because it's the subject we will be talking about today. We're here to talk about to understand how pro bono can contribute to build a more positive, inclusive, and united society. To do so, we will be discussing various topics such as the role of the intermediaries, the different ways of doing pro bono, the different types of profiles that can engage as volunteers, but also the kind of skills shared, and we will be also talking about European cooperations, how and why the European Union should encourage this kind of projects. For your information, Pro Bono Lab recently published a study called Shared Skills Volunteering, Global Overview. It's an international panorama that shows the different way of doing pro bono around the world and the main key figures related to the concept. As part of this project, we also created an interactive roadmap in order to help you identify the different intermediaries around the world, but also the specific ones in your country. I guess that my colleague Anaïs will share the links with you in the chat. The study is available on Notion to navigate easily between each part of the study, and you may receive the different link. Perfect. So let's start. Welcome to our speakers, and thank you for being with us today. So now I will let you introduce yourselves, and as you are all intermediaries, Pro Bono Lab, Pro Bono Club Ukraine, and Time Heroes, could you also talk us about your work, your role as an intermediary? Anastasiia, maybe you would like to start?
Thank you, Charlotte. Good morning to all. My name is Anastasiia Holub. I'm Communications Manager of Pro Bono Club Ukraine. And our organization is quite young. We created in 2018, and we focus on skill-based volunteering. We identify and try to find the appropriate skills among professionals to answer the needs the nonprofits face now. It could be strategic communications, finance, law issues, etc. And we as well lead some educational projects in collaboration with companies and conduct individual consultations. As an intermediary, we as well make some researches, the common needs of nonprofit organization through the polls. For example, what topics are relevant for them. And we initiate project in accordance with these researches. And one of our main missions is to popularize the pro bono concept in Ukraine, as it's not very popular in country now, but we hope to change it soon.
Anaïs, maybe?
Yes. So, hello everyone. I'm Anaïs, head of the Pro Bono Observatory in Pro Bono Lab. Created in 2011, Pro Bono Lab is a non-profit organization that supports other non-profits by giving the opportunity to access to the skills they need to develop their activities and reinforce their impact. So, as Pro Bono Club and Time Heroes. Her role is to ensure the adequacy and impact of the mission led for both non-profit organizations and volunteers. And so to do this, we identify the needs of the NGOs through diagnostic and their needs. We create different types of formats to enable them to obtain the skills they need, and including linking them with citizens, companies, and public institutions sometimes. We also advise public and private institutions in the development of their social responsibility strategy. And finally, we have more reflective centers, such as a club of partners to exchange good practices in supporting NGOs, and the observatory, for which I am responsible, to better understand the needs of the NGO and how to set up solutions and formats that allow more link between the various actors who make up the territories for the general interest.
Thank you, Anaïs. Betty?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Betty, and I'm the Executive Director of Time Heroes. Time Heroes is also a non-profit organization and the biggest volunteering platform in Bulgaria. The platform was founded in 2012, so we have been operating for more than 10 years now. And the platform is offering a matchmaking service between volunteers and nonprofits. So so far we have, with the help of the platform, we have connected more than 1,000 nonprofits with close to 80,000 volunteers. It's a one-of-a-kind platform for the country. And the concept of pro bono in Bulgaria is relatively new, and we have tried different formats in the past years, but we are now starting to create a better infrastructure for pro bono in the country.
We can hear you, Charlotte.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? Perfect. Thank you for your answers. So we understand that your role is crucial to spread the practice of pro bono, but also to ensure an appropriate match between the non-profit organizations that need help and the volunteers that want to participate to help them. There are different ways of doing pro bono, like you can participate to a one-shot mission, engage yourself on long-term with a non-profit organization. You can participate to collective or individual projects on your free time, on your working time. So can you tell us, can you share with us an example of a program that represents the way of doing pro bono in your organization, and maybe share with us the different benefits for the stakeholders? Anastasia?
Mm-hmm. Actually, we have a range of activities, and I want to tell about one of the most common and popular among our businesses and NGOs. We called it Pro Bono Marathon, and the format is the next. We just choose a specific topic. It could be finance, law, public relations, etc. And during 2 or 3 weeks, we conduct different activities on this topic in collaboration with business. It could be face-to-face consultations, webinars. Also, we publish different articles, materials on this topic. And for example, at the beginning of the lockdown, we launched a pro bono marathon, and 30 experts applied in one day. It was really a successful action because people wanted to help and share their experience in this difficult time. And for now, we are doing this type of activities regularly. We did this on the topic of finance, about law issues, and also we sometimes choose some range of NGOs. For example, we made marathon for only cultural NGOs also. So we trying to do this activity as much as possible, and a lot of experts started their pro bono activity from this format. Thank you.
Thank you. Betty?
Yes. So since Time Heroes was founded, we, as I mentioned, we are often the only source, one and only source for nonprofits to find volunteers. So a lot of companies in the country know that, and know that we have a wide network of nonprofits that we support. So I'm going to tell you about 2 different formats. The first one is one event that we have organized for big international bank and almost 80 of their employees. They wanted to find different nonprofits that they can support in the longer run or long term. But they didn't know how to choose a nonprofit that they will like, that they will like working with, and that their expertise will match the need of the nonprofit. So what we did was we organized a speed dating event, which took half a day. So the employees had the opportunity to meet in person with 10 nonprofits and get to know them better and get to know their needs and their struggles. So at the end of the day, we have successfully formed different teams, and they started working together. So this was one interesting format. Another one, which is also a type of a pro bono marathon, was an initiative that we did as part of our BEASY project that we are working together with Pro Bono Lab and another 5 European partners with. So it was a workshop. It was a one-day workshop that we did in support of a museum in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, because the museum was struggling to attract young people as visitors, as well as young people as employees. And we met with the museum, we understood better its needs, and we formed 3 teams of students and mentors that worked together in finding solutions for how the museum can attract more visitors, how the museum can be more visible to the wider public, and how the museum can attract younger employees and with fresh ideas. So it was, again, a really successful event. And since we are in constant connection with the museum, we know that the pro bono workshop was actually pretty successful.
Thank you, Betty. Anaïs?
Yes. So if I have to talk about one program I found interesting, it will be what we called the Pro Bono Factory. In a given territory, we focus on a specific issue by supporting NGOs working on the chosen issue, thanks to all the players in the territory, so companies, public institutions, employees, job seekers, students, and so on. During 2 days, a whole territory brings solutions to NGOs whose needs have been defined beforehand. Afterwards, the volunteers who wish to do so can continue with the NGO. They're supported by helping it to the 2 days of the main event, for example. And this program shows that it is through collective intelligence that solutions are sometimes found. In this program, students who have no professional experiences, for example, can support an NGO, and they gain self-confidence and also learn from proposals made by more experienced people. It is a win-win situation for everyone: NGOs who need help, citizens who want to get involved, companies that need to offer meaningful missions, public institutions that need to enable the development of their territories. So we try to be the link between these actors. So as you can see, there are a lot of different benefits for everyone. So for the company, it can be a new kind of team building. It can embody the corporate value, concrete training opportunity. Employees can be proud of their company through pro bono action. It can retain talents and contribute to the dynamism of the territory. For the volunteers, so it can be employees, but also, as we saw, some students, job seekers, or just some people who want to get involved with NGOs. So it can give them meaning to their skills. They can feel useful and be more confident after a pro bono mission. It can support positive impact projects. It's like a teamwork. And for the non-profits, there are also a lot of benefits, like to get access for free to the skills it needs to develop their activities. It can help them to mobilize complementary expertise to answer a specific issue. And it can reinforce their network and create like partnerships with volunteers or the companies involved in their program.
Thank you for these inspiring examples. It's always very interesting to discover the different ways of doing pro bono in different countries, but also the similarities. And it represents great opportunities for both non-profit organizations in need and volunteer and people who want to volunteer. Talking about volunteers, let's now focus on the different profiles of people you engage through your pro bono programs. According to the Global Overview, the International Panorama Pro Bono Lab recently published, there are 73% of the intermediaries that engage volunteers, professionals on their free time, and there are 66% of the intermediaries that engage professionals on their working time. So should we assume that there is a specified profile to be a pro bono volunteer? Maybe you can tell us more about the profiles of people you engage through your pro bono programs and the kind of skills they share with the non-profits. Maybe Anastasia, you would like to start?
Yeah, thank you. We actually have a specific profile of pro bono volunteers as we based on skills. And we looked through our list of pro bono volunteers, and I can say that it's mostly mid-career professionals, people who are in the middle of their way, because some top professionals, they are very busy, or they can do pro bono help without us, without intermediary. And people on the start, they sometimes don't have enough experience to help organizations. So our audience is mid-career professionals, mostly women. It's 60% of our list are women, and its age vary from 25 to 35. It's the majority of our volunteers. Also, it could be either people from companies, corporate employees, and they mostly do pro bono during working hours. And also we involve people who have their own businesses or agencies, and these people do pro bono in their free time. So for now we have only skill-based volunteering, but in the future we also plan to involve students, or people on maternity leave, for example, and to expand our profile.
Thank you, Betty. Anaïs, maybe you want to follow?
Yes. So the main profiles we engage are professionals too. But we have diversified our targets and developed pro bono programs that we call pro bono explorers to engage other types of profiles less involved in skills sharing, so in theory. So we try to engage job seekers, students, refugees, or people with mental disabilities. We also ran a European project that Betty told us earlier, so the BUSY project with other intermediaries. And so that through pro bono, through this project, pro bono, students could have a first experiences and facilitate their employability. Students work with mentors to support an NGO or on a specific need, and the mission can range from a few hours to several months. So the mix of different publics allow to create links within the society to be more inclusive. And pro bono is a great tool because by supporting NGOs, we also allow the development of social solidarity and sustainable economy.
Thank you, Anaïs. Betty, would you like to add something on this part?
Yes, the picture in Bulgaria is pretty much the same. When we organize different pro bono formats, we mainly attract young people who are working, and because the IT industry is very hot in Bulgaria, it's a hot market. So people who are engaged or working in the IT industry are most commonly involved in our pro bono formats. And as Anaïs mentioned as well, as part of the BUSY project, we worked with students as well. But yeah, basically the profile is pretty much the same.
Thank you, Betty. You mentioned the BUSY projects. I understand that professionals currently represent the major part of the volunteers engaged in pro bono projects, but the ambition is shared by the intermediaries represented today to engage a larger diversity of profiles. And yes, you mentioned the BUSY project that has been deployed at European scale and engage 5 countries. So can you tell us some more about this project? And do you think the European Union should encourage this type of collaboration, and why? Betty, maybe you can start.
Yeah, definitely. Where I think definitely any type of skill sharing between different European countries should be encouraged by the European Union. We were very excited to join the BUSY project. It has started in 2018, so we are close to the end of the project. And the idea was to engage students and to encourage them to take part in different projects with a social impact. So they worked together with mentors. They worked in groups together with mentors who are professionals, so they can develop a solution in support of a non-profit organization. So it was actually a win-win situation for all parties involved, because the students gained like really useful and hands-on experience. They have developed a wide network of contacts, because they got to know a lot of professionals and get to know a lot of companies from the inside, and also understood how their actions can have a great impact on a non-profit organization and on the civil society as a whole. So the project for us as an organization was really helpful, because, as I mentioned a couple of times, the concept of pro bono is something relatively new. So we were happy to be able to share experience with partners and from countries like France or Portugal, where pro bono is something that is a thing and it's more developed as a concept. So we benefited greatly from taking part of this project, and we now have different type of formats of pro bono missions that we can organize for Bulgarian nonprofits. So this is from my side.
Thank you, Betty. Anastasia? We can hear you.
Yeah, I believe that pro bono activities shouldn't have borders, and that's why I, of course, support some international projects because pro bono it's very good concept and also tackles some social problems. It contributes to reducing unemployment. Also, for example, our experts say that pro bono helps them to be more prouder of their work and to be even more productive on their main work. So it's good to expand this concept through international projects. We are now not participating in some international projects, but we do in Ukraine something like BUSY. We now have a cooperation with one business school. It's called International Institute of Management, and in a month, their students, MBA students, will be working with NGOs on solving their issues on a pro bono basis. And in the future, we plan to involve more universities, more higher schools to involve in this program and to share their experience. And also, I think if we have opportunity, we also join some international projects at European scale in the future.
Thank you, Anastasia. Anaïs, it's your turn.
Yeah. The opportunity to run projects on a European scale and to have funding for this allows organizations like us to share knowledge and maximize our impacts by creating common projects, by adapting them to our cultures, by inspiring each other. We see it internally in Pro Bono Lab that it stimulates our creativity, it allows the capitalization of what we do to transmit it, and the evaluation of the impact of our projects should not be neglected either in order to continue to adapt to our territories and our audiences. This data should be transmitted on a European scale in order to learn from each other. And that is how we will be able to have an impact on our territories at the national level, but also within the European Union to respond to common challenges. So as Betty says, thanks to the Erasmus Plus funding for the BUSY project, to engage students with NGOs, we have been able to capitalize on this experiment. And by the end of the year, we will publish a practical guide and online courses to replicate the project. So yes, of course, we think that cooperation should be encouraged by the European Union and to allow the sharing of skills between organizations and to create partnerships, mutual aid. It's very important.
Thank you for your answers. I can see that there is a common shared willing to participate to more European projects. And this year we'll start the new programmation of the European opportunities for fundraising from 2021 to 2027. So there will be opportunities coming soon, and I hope we will have the opportunity to carry out projects together. Thank you for your answers. Maybe Anaïs, you could share with us some information, data you have in mind regarding the pro bono in Europe.
Yes, I put earlier in the chat a link to the International Panorama of Intermediaries. So it's a study we made to help people, so citizens or companies or NGO, to find an intermediary in your country, so in Europe, but also at the more global scale. And the idea is to show you that we do the same work, but we have to adapt to national context. So in Europe, the pro bono start to be well known, but it depends from country to country. So Betty said earlier that in Bulgaria it's starting, so it has to develop more. But in the West Europe, it's few years now that it's well developed, so you won't have a difficulty to find different type of intermediary in several countries, and it can be on the platform. So on the internet you can find easily some pro bono mission, or it can be physical intermediary like us. So we don't have a platform to connect people automatically, so we have to meet the NGO to realize a diagnosis of their needs, and then we contact volunteers. We have to form them, to brief them on the mission, and we facilitate all the mission to be sure that they can answer the needs, and that the NGO, it will be efficient for them. So we have a lot of kind of all working in Europe. Of course, in the States, they are the first to develop pro bono program. At the beginning, it was for the law and the needs of law, but now it can be all kinds of skills, so communication, financial needs, marketing one. So there is a great diversity of intermediaries, and we can support NGO a lot of different ways.
Thank you, Anaïs. Is there maybe any project you are currently or that you have been recently carried out that makes you proud and you would like to share with us? You already shared with us like your favorite projects. It's for each of you who would like to answer it.
I can tell you about, as I mentioned before, we have tried several different formats through the years, and what will work best for our market and for the needs of both the companies and the non-profits. And the platform, our platform, as Anaïs mentioned, it has this option that automatically connects people, so people with non-profits. So we are starting to work on a project. We have already started for a couple of months now, but we are working towards introducing a service that will automatically connect pro bono experts with non-profit organizations and their specific their specific project that they need pro bono experts for. So it will be like job board type of a platform, of a feature on the platform, because we are, as I mentioned, we are a well-known platform, and this will give more and a wider and a greater visibility to the needs of the non-profits. and on the other hand, we'll offer the people who want to share their skills, their professional skills for free. They will. It will make the contact and the whole process easier. So we, for now, as everyone in this meeting, Anastasia and Anaïs, we are working on organizing these like specific events and missions and projects that can carry out a successful pro bono mission. But for the future, we would like to make this like a automatic process.
Thank you, Betty, for sharing this example with us. Before I conclude and let the viewers asking you their questions, is there maybe any advice you would like to give to someone who would like to start volunteering as pro bono volunteer, or any advice for an organization, a company that would like to start deploy pro bono formats projects within the company for the employees?
I can say.
Yes, sure.
Yes, we often work with big companies also, like make some corporate programs, and like advice for a company to make it as much as possible useful and interesting for their employees, because then topics, programs, formats are very interesting for employees. So they do this with pleasure. They are really proud of this, and they enjoy this time. So like it is very important to have some good concept of the project, not just to make a project for some reports or for some articles in mass media. It should be really good event for their workers. And speaking about just people who want to join pro bono, it's also really important understand what skills you want to test, what in what sphere you want to develop, and then for example in our organization people can just have call with us and we can say them what projects will be appropriate for them, what NGOs we have in their interest, and in this way we will match them in good way, like they will fit each other, and it will be very nice and productive cooperation.
Thank you, Anastasia. Yes, for a pro bono mission to run well, it's very important to ensure this appropriate match between the interest of the volunteer, the kind of skills he or she would like to share, and the needs of the NGO. Anaïs, is there anything you would like to add on this subject?
Yeah, I'm agree with Anastasia, and for companies, they can ask for intermediaries, but the main advice that I will give is that to better understand the NGO before to put in place pro bono mission. So it not just have to be a team building mission, but to be careful to the needs of the NGO. It can be a team building mission, but also very helpful for the NGO. So don't forget it, and try to really understand what is the needs of the NGO and how it's functioning. Because there are NGOs tend to be more professional and have the same needs as the company, so needs on communication, marketing, financial needs, but they don't have the same resources. They don't have the big budget, so So you need to try to understand how they're functioning and how much they have resources to put in place the recommendation that will be affected by the employees.
Yes, it's very important to have this, we can say maybe cultural gap between non-profit organization and companies, and we can see it at Pro Bono Lab during our collective workshops. You have around 7 to 10 volunteers here to help the non-profit organization. And yes, sometimes they can make like recommendations that the NGO won't be able to deploy right now because it's a small team, they don't have a lot of money. So it's really important to understand that. And this is also why we are here as an intermediary during this kind of workshops, to ensure everyone is trying to understand each other's need and to make sure the pro bono mission runs well for all the participants. So thank you very much, Anaïs, Anastasiia, and Betty, for your contributions. I hope you enjoyed participating. It's always very interesting and inspiring to exchange on this fascinating subject that is pro bono. Before I conclude, now that our viewers have a more precise idea of what is pro bono and how they can engage, I would like to ask you one question through the poll function. So you will see it on your screen. Will you be ready for your first pro bono mission to help an NGO have a greater impact? I'm waiting for more answers, maybe. Okay, it seems that the majority of the people who answered, 2 out of 3, would love to participate to a pro bono mission. Thank you very much. Also to our viewers, I hope you gain access to more information and that you are more convinced than ever that pro bono has a great positive impact on society, and that you are ready maybe to deploy it within your organization. Now, if you want to, you cannot get to the poll. Sorry, I'll reopen it because I'm curious to see your answers. Can you see it now? It's great because yes, I'd love to is rising up. So. Okay, perfect. I can see that you have access to the poll. Wow, you seem all to be ready to participate to a pro bono mission. Someone said maybe, and so maybe another workshop will convince him or her. Thank you very much for answering this poll. Now we still have a few minutes if you want to ask questions to our speakers. You can use the chat box. I didn't check it during the session, so I don't know if there are already questions you would like to share. I think there is one from Theodora. So it's a question for Betty from is the organization called Impact Drive, and Theodora is working on developing a more systemic process on pro bono in Bulgaria. Great news you mentioned, Betty, and she would like to ask you to elaborate more on the skills that need to be built in volunteers and the NGOs for impactful integration among them. So, yes.
I would say that is great, Theodora. Great to meet you. I will later check on your website, and we can also exchange contacts. But I would say, and I will probably repeat what Anaïs said, but it's more it's more important to focus on the process of how you understand the needs of the nonprofit, and then how will you later on translate the needs of the nonprofits to the professional volunteers. This is the most crucial part, in my opinion. Yeah, please let me know if you need something more concrete or more specific. Basically, what helped us so far was what Anaïs mentioned, and their experience as an intermediary in France, and how exactly they run this pro bono marathons. So this was what was the most crucial for us. What steps do you follow, and how important is that you do a diagnosis meeting with the nonprofit, and then follow up meetings after the marathon as well. I don't know if this answers your question, but yeah, if you need.
I just shared again the presentation with the slide with your emails, so people can write them down. And if people are interested in knowing more, they also can leave their email address on the chat box. Theodora just said she would be glad to talk more, so I guess you will have the opportunity to exchange on this subject. I saw another question. It's Liga. What would you recommend as the first step for the NGO that plans to start raising awareness of pro bono concept in a country where it is not very known yet? It's not for specified speakers, so if any of you have some answers to give to Liga, feel free.
I can say, because we had the same problem actually, from our experience, it is good to work with a lot of mass media, to try to write about this, to go to radio, to make some interviews. And what worked with us, some like unexpected hidden, that why like top specialists work without paying. Like why people do this, because to say like pro bono, why people do pro bono, other people don't know what is pro bono, so it's good to use some like explanations of this concept, that just people help each other, they don't want money, they can like invest by sharing their skills, $2,000 or more, and this type of materials are very popular, and people are interested in this, like why people do this, and then they through these articles they can join to your pro bono activities. And the next thing is to ask your pro bono volunteers to share their experience with their friends, with their colleagues. It will be like a word of mouth advertising, and it's really very useful because then people had good experience with pro bono, they will tell to other very passionate that like you should do it, and by this way you also can spread the information about pro bono.
Thank you very much, Anna. Roberto would be glad to connect with you three on LinkedIn. We still have time for one or two last questions. So if everyone would like to know more, feel free to write it down on the chat box. And if not, well, thank you again to our speakers and viewers. It was great to moderating this workshop with you all today. Don't hesitate to contact our speakers if you need more information. You have their email on the screen. And if you want the presentation, don't hesitate to contact us, and I would be glad to share it with you. Thanks again to you all, and have a great European Social Economy Summit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the floor.